much higher, which is why it sounds different. So if we lower the tempo to the same tempo setting as program 12, which is 54, and also change the in beat to a number of beats which is probably closer to what we're looking for, then we'll get here we can show how you can use a cyclone to record a rhythm pattern and play back.
You can also use all the other options, including the order and the number of notes you want it to play back with that rhythm. Why don't you do the whole pedal and show the number of notes.
Use the mode parameter under edit. Again, use mode to get to edit, and then use the clone button to get to mode. Here we see that it's on RC, which stands for the recorded mode. We recorded one note at a time. If we recorded other notes at a time, we would play those. Here we're playing all of the notes recorded at every rhythm beat. Here we'll play 4 notes at a time. And we can change the order to up and down. To random 4. We'll try a back and forth order. Program 14 demonstrates the ability to do the inverse of program 13, that is, to record the notes into the memory of the cyclone and use the keyboard to provide the rhythm information. First we'll go back to 12 again and use 12 to record a simple pattern of notes which we will be able to recognize. Those are now recorded. Now we'll go to 14. Those notes are still in the record buffer, and all we have to do now is play back in the control zone of the which is the lower octave, a rhythm which we want to use to play back that sequence of notes, so we can get effects like.
Once again, all the things in order and mode still apply to this. So if you wanted to play those notes back one at a time and key from the keyboard.
Sure. You simply go to mode function once again, put it on F1. Now we'll play one note at a time, still in the recorded order.
And RC, will give you exactly the way you played it.
RC gives you just the way you played it.
And 2 and so on.
And so on.
Same thing with order. You can do all the same things again with the same options with order.
Yes. Go to order. Program 15 is called Pyrotechnics because it demonstrates a lot of the features of the cyclone all at the same time and gets a lot of notes happening all at the same time. the first part of 15 requires that you erase what's in the record buffer because it performs an auto record. To do that, you simply press and hold both record and store, and that erases the previous contents of the record buffer. Then go into clone and record, and you're in auto record similar to program 8, but you're also doing it in a way which is in a rhythm pattern which is called tuplets, which basically divides a quarter note beat into the number of notes that you hold down, so that the more notes you hold, the faster it goes. Since I have 8 notes held down, we're actually getting 30-second note pulses, as that is what a quarter note divides into by 8. We'll simplify that pattern and just put in a 4-note pattern so that it's a 16th note pattern. And now we'll also combine that by turning off record with the keyboard as a live source of notes. And again, we'll be having 2 sources of notes divided at middle C. You can also, on top of that, play any number of notes for a 3rd source. Play polyrhythms by holding different numbers of notes, unrelated numbers of notes. Here I'm playing 5 over 4. Playing 3 over 4. Those are the 16 Cyclone factory programs.
Oh man, there it goes again. The old Cyclone drum sync demo. It's featured by Randy. Randy's back.
This is Randy's back. Remember on Joe's foot? Oh, that was a stupid
That's the wrong date. Not the right date. There we are.
Yeah. So, which one?
DPX1. The sound.
The Oberheim Cyclone driving several instruments at once. This is factory patch 15. And we've got the Cyclone hooked up now, being driven by and slaving a Matrix 12. So we come out of the Matrix 12 into the Cyclone, go back out of the Cyclone into the Matrix 12. The Matrix 12, we're going through to a DPX1. Coming into the input of the DPX1 through to an Oberheim Matrix 1000.
Barely see it.
Coming out of the Matrix 1000
Through
the Matrix 1000 into a DX, which is providing the drum sounds. Now we'll show you some of the more interesting things you can do with the Cyclone in a more complex setup. One of the most interesting things you can do with the Cyclone is to hook it up to a drum machine. As we showed previously, the Cyclone is hooked up through a couple other instruments to a DX. And what we're using now is program 15 to demonstrate how you can record some interesting patterns on the fly to help create some new patterns that you might not have played. First, turn on record and then clone, and you're in record ready mode, indicated by the flashing LED. Next, we're ready to record. So all you have to do is pick some notes out to play. I've got some notes here mapped to the DX on the notes in the lower registers here. And since we're in tuplet mode, which is a feature of program 15, that allows us to divide the beat, a quarter note beat, by how many notes we're holding down on the keyboard. So if I hold a single note, hear how it transposes that single note in quarter note timing. If I hold down a second note, I go to eighth note timings, and the holes are created by having holes in the map. So you can get a broken pattern simply by leaving things off. Now I'm playing triplets over the quarter note, again with some holes. Now I'm playing 16ths. And here we have a ready-made pattern that would have taken quite a while to compose on a regular drum machine. You can change that on the fly just by holding different notes. As we showed you before, you can play multiple instruments from a Cyclone. What you're hearing right now is simply a DPX1 and a DX, as we showed you before, playing what's known as one of the three sources of the Cyclone. The three sources are the record buffer, which is what's playing now, since I'm not holding any notes on the keyboard, and the two zones of the keyboard. You can split the keyboard into two pieces and send a different set of notes to each of those groups or sources. For this particular setup, we've got memory going to the drum machine and the DPX1 playing a guitar patch, as you can hear. And I can go into record and change the basic groove on the fly. Until I find something I like.